Hello and welcome to another video from me, Rough Swordsman, Wargamer. It's an open the box and it's an unboxing of Mr. Simonitch's brand new 40X game. It is of course North Africa 41, the Western Desert, March to December 1941. And incidentally, the illustration is by Antonis Karadis. So what's all this about? North Africa 41 is a game that represents the campaign in North Africa from Rommel's first offensive in March 1941 to December 1941. During that period, Rommel's forces dashed across Cyrenaica and made it to the frontier of Egypt. However, he was not able to take the critical port of Tobruk, defended by the stubborn Australians. With superior tanks and 88mm flak guns used as an anti-tank weapon, the Axis forces successfully fought off two counterattacks from the east, the Allied operations called Brevity and Battle Axe. Later in the year, before Rommel could make his final big assault against Tobruk, the Allies launched Operation Crusader that forced the Axis forces to retreat back to their original starting positions at Aghila. North Africa 41 allows players to study the campaign and refight it with their own strategies. The game includes a detailed map of the Western Desert and a meticulously researched order of battle. The game uses the simple move, fight, supply game system developed in Normandy 44 and Holland 44. Important events like supply, troop quality, tank quality, artillery support, and command and control are all reflected in the game. So the scale: combat units represent brigades, regiments and battalions. Each hex on the map represents an area 8 miles across. Each game turn represents half a month, but a game turn is further divided into 2 to 3 impulses representing 3 to 7 days. And the game includes 3 scenarios: the campaign game, Enter Rommel, and Crusader. Here's an overview of the map. As you can see, it's quite big, which might deter a few people from getting this. Bit of a close-up and some of the counters. And in the box we've got a couple of paper maps, 2 counter sheets, a rulebook and a playbook, 2 6-sided dice, 2 setup and reinforcement cards, and 2 identical combat result table stroke terrain effects chart player aid cards. So the credits, of course: game design Mark Simonitch, developer Christian Diedler, research and order of battle Fred Thomas, graphic artist was Mark Simonitch, and the production coordinator Tony Curtis. So 2 players, although many people do play this solo, ages 14 plus, time 3 to 12 hours depending on the scenario. And on the game charts here, complexity is a 5 out of 9, and solitaire suitability also 5 out of 9. Right, let's get the shrink wrap off. The shrink wrap is off, and it's the usual sturdy 2-inch box, which we know and love from GMT Games. Right, let's open the box. First thing we see are the rules, and as per normal with my unboxing, let's have a look at those first. There they are, full colour, matte paper, 28 pages. We'll have a quick look through these. The format looks familiar for those that already have any of Mark's 40X games. Introduction, components, map and game pieces, and an explanation of what all the numbers and things mean on the units and some of the markers. Unit sizes and the colours, and then we're into the sequence of play, stacking limits and that, land movement, extended movement to the desert I suppose, trucks which were used greatly. Good to see examples of play in that. Rail movement. Yeah, there's a few off-map boxes if I remember rightly. And then zones of control. Now, I could be wrong, and I usually am, but doesn't appear to be any ZOC bonds in this. Instead, they've got limited ZOCs and overlapping ZOCs. Then combat. Multi-hex combat. Combat against non-combat units. Automatic defender shattered. Any modifiers that you use. Fortifications. The results. And good old determined defense. Retreats. Disruption and recovery. Advance after combat. Breakthrough combat. Supply and attrition. Isolation attrition. How to supply penalties. ASUs and SPs, supply points, and I believe that's artillery support units. Some special units, reconnaissance, the old flak, 88 flak, artillery groups and DAC HQ, and Rommel himself, and some air units. And of course, you've got to have the long-range desert group, replacements, how that all works, and reinforcements, removals and conversions. Naval transport and ports. And convoy attacks. Of course, Malta very important at this time of the war. Events tables, resource points, delay markers, supply attrition phase, victory and optional rules. And then we've got the campaigns. So enter Rommel, and the campaign itself, and Operation Crusader. Then at the back, some hints and the credits, abbreviations that are on the units, and a convoy example. Well, this is new. And an index on the back. So there we are. Them's the rules. Next up, a 20-page playbook showing us an extended example of play from turn 1 up to turn 2. These are always welcome. And ending thoughts. So a couple of turns played through for you with all the impulses. Design notes. Order of battle and historical notes. That's by Fred Thomas, as we saw on the back of the box. Quite a bit there. Bibliography, always welcomed. And rating the tanks in North Africa, 41. And how the DAC infantry was organized. At the back here, an extended sequence of play for you to use. There we go. Next, a couple of bifold player aid charts. Let's have a look at one of those. So on the front, we've got the combat results table, determined defense table, isolation attrition table, modifiers and the rally table. These look familiar to those, again, who have one of these games in the series. So in the middle here, we've got event tables for the Allied and Axis units, anti-shipping table, shipping cost table, post-demolition and bombing table, the Axis supply attrition table over here, disengagement table, and the resource list here. And on the back, the terrain effects chart. A couple of D6s. Here are the setup charts for Operation Crusader. And here's a look at the other side. Next, the two counter sheets. Here's the first one. These are 9/16, I believe. So we've got the Germans here, the Italians, the Brits, and the Aussies, looks like. And sort of NATO signs for infantry and whatnot, but side views of vehicles and tanks, and the aircraft depicted by pictures as well. On the other side, lots of blank sides. Is that replacements, remnants? And that's the first counter sheet. And here's the second counter sheet. Looks like they're mainly markers. These are unusual, I assume go on the map. Sort of holding boxes, disrupted and out of supply counters as well. And on the other side, so we've got fortifications, full retreat, and here it says use this display to keep important markers handy. So there we are. Last thing out of the box are the two maps, which are perfectly serviceable and many people prefer, but you know me, I like mounted maps, so we got those. So let's have a look at them. We're having to go freehand here, so excuse the jerkiness. It's a pretty long map. Here's the first one. Moving along. So yeah, you can see this might put some people off. It's a big map, but look at it, looks great. So what we'll do is we'll have a little close-up, see what's going on. So here's the left-hand map, and what we'll do is we'll have a zoom in on the map itself and all the bits around the outside. So in the top left corner, we've got a little map of Italy and Sicily, and that's to do with shipping by the looks of it, Axis replacements and supply pool, and Axis remnant display. Resource points for the port of Benghazi. And here we've got stuff to do with Malta. That can either go off to Benghazi or down to Tripoli, which is off the map. And the Axis elimination box. Being a desert, of course, it's pretty featureless. We've got some stuff up here, though. Still a handsome looking map. And over here in the corner of the first map, we've got Port of Derna, the shipping points cost. What's nice as well, of course, we've got the reference to the rules, port demolition and bombing table, anti-shipping table, and here's Tobruk. Let's have a look at the other map. Here's most of the right-hand map. Let's have a zoom in on what's going on up here. Here's the turn track, of course, sequence of play, and the player turn. Down here we've got the port of Bardia. You can just see here the port of Mersa Matruh. Summer turns, removed units, withdrawn units, and Axis supply attrition table and Allied supply attrition table, and the surrender box. And down the bottom, a little zoom in to the Katara depression and reserves box for the Allies. We can just see the Allied eliminated box. And in the top right of the map, we have the map key, campaign game victory point track, Allied remnant display and resource points. And right down the bottom, those boxes we saw just now, along with the Allied replacements and supply pool and the Nile Delta. There we go. Them's the maps. So this has been an Open the Box, an unboxing of Mark Simonitch's brand new game, North Africa 41, the Western Desert, March to December 1941. Published, of course, by GMT Games. Well, I hope you enjoyed that and you found it interesting. If you did and you haven't done so already, it would be great if you would consider subscribing to the channel. It really does help. The other thing that's good for the channel is to push the like button, the thumbs up underneath the video. And if you want to be informed of what the channel uploads, then push the old bell. But just make sure you push all notifications. Leave a comment. I have yet to explore this new game from Mark. And at the time of videoing, I think people are starting to get their copies as well. But let me know, what do you think? Because I love to read them. Thanks as always to my subscribers. Thank you so much. And just before I go, if you wish to support the channel a little bit further, well, you can. You can buy the channel a coffee, and a link for that is in the description, or you can push the super thanks button underneath the video. Either of which, if you decide to do that, will help the channel to just keep ticking along. So thank you. So there we are. That's North Africa 41. So until the next video, as always, you take care and goodbye.